Photography, and today's tutorial that we're doing is on depth of field. And so what we're going to do today is just talk a little bit about what is included in depth of field, how you get a soft blurry background, how you get everything in focus. And so we're going to talk about the three main components of depth of field, and that is aperture, that is focal length of your lens, and that is your distance to your subject. So we're going to talk about the first one, aperture. And so if you don't know exactly what aperture is basically how wide your lens can actually open up. So if you look here, you can see the lens actually opens to let in more or less light, and that is your aperture. And what it is there are small numbers that are these numbers down here that are assigned to your apertures, and those are called f-stops. And so basically the smaller the number, the wider it's going to be. So this lens is a 1.4 lens. At 1.4 it's at its absolute widest. At 22 it's at its absolute smallest. Okay? So that's what f-stops are. They're those numbers that are assigned to your aperture, and lenses vary depending on the lens. You know, this is a 1.4 lens. This is a 2.8 lens, meaning that's the widest it can go, is f2.8. And the one on my camera here is the 50mm 1.8. So each of these has a different smallest or largest aperture. And so we're going to talk about that for a second. And so basically it has to do with what aperture you're at starting out with. So if you're at your widest, if you're at f, for this lens, if I'm at f1.4 and I'm at my absolute widest there, my depth of field is going to be at its absolute narrowest. And I know it's a little bit confusing, you know, with the numbers and well, why is a small number the widest? It just is. I couldn't give you an exact explanation for that, but the wider your aperture is, the wider that lens is, the narrower that depth of field is going to be. So it's always backwards, and then the smaller that aperture is, the wider that depth of field is going to be, the wider that focus is going to be, and you're going to get more things in your shot in focus. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And the other thing we're going to talk about is the focal length of your lens. So the longer the lens is, the shallower it's going to be. If I take the exact same shot from the exact same distance with the exact same aperture, with my 24 and with my 85, just because the 85 is cropped in tighter in that shot, the depth of field is going to be a little bit narrower. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is your distance to the subject. And I'm going to show you a little exercise that you can do just with your eyes to kind of simulate that depth of field. And so we're going to talk about that in a second. We're going to take a couple photos here, and I'll show you some examples of different apertures and different distances and different focal lengths. And so we'll be right back with that, and we're going to talk about aperture first. Okay. Talking about basically focus and depth of field and how you get a blurry background, or how you get a background that's still in focus. And again, an aperture is basically an opening through which light travels. You know, if you look it up, that's what it should say. An opening through which light travels. So you see that opening, it opens up, and the more it opens up, obviously the more light is let in, and the more it closes down, the less light is let in. And it also corresponds directly with your ISO and with your shutter speed, which we'll also go over. So aperture, and then the f-stops, those numbers that correlate to the size of your aperture, how wide or how small it's opened up. And so basically each lens, if you look at it, you hear people say my lens is a 2.8 lens, or my lens is a 1.8 or a 1.4 or 1.2 lens. And that's basically how wide that aperture will open up. And it's pretty significant. It's important to get those better lenses with wider apertures, the 70 to 200 2.8s, the 24 to 70 2.8, those pro lenses, because you're able to shoot in lower light. You know, if you're somewhere where there's not much available light, and you don't have flashes and you don't have strobes, if your lens can open up more, then you're going to be at a bigger advantage than if your lens is a 3.5 to 5.6 or a 4 to 5.6, and depending on the zoom. And so we're going to take a few pictures here, and I have this this Wheat Thins box, and I'm going to put it here. And so I've kind of measured it out to about 3 feet. I'm going to take it from the same distances, just for the sake of this tutorial. I'm not going to really move from different distances. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do different apertures, and I'm going to shoot different lenses to show you the point of different aperture sizes and focal length. And then we're going to do a little small exercise on how you can do the whole distance thing without even using your lenses. So so I'm going to put this on the table here, and I'm going to shoot. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out at 2.8. I'm going to shoot with the 50, and then I'm going to shoot with the 85. I'm going to leave the 24 out for now, but I'm going to start off at 2.8. I'm going to go up a stop. So 2.8, 4, 5.6, 8, and then I'm just going to stop at 8, just for the sake of this tutorial. So we're going to take these different shots, and I'm going to show you in a second what they look like. I'm going to put them up so you can see how the background goes more blurry, how the background begins to come into focus. And we're going to get this underway. Okay, so we'll be right back with that. Okay, everyone. So we're here. We're going to shoot this Wheat Thins box. Like I said, I'm going to start at f2.8, and I'm going to go up a stop each time. And it's pretty dark in here, so I'm actually going to use my strobe. I could shoot natural light, but I'd have to really hit up my ISO, and then I would need a tripod to shoot on, because my shutter is actually going to go down pretty slow, and my tripod's being used right now for the camera. So so I'm going to shoot this, and we're going to start at f2.8, and I'm going to show you how it goes up, and as it goes up, how the background begins to go from blurry, and it begins to come more and more into focus. So let's start shooting now, and let's see how these shots turn out. Let's see. I'm at a distance of about 3 feet. I use my tape measure just to make sure. So we're at about 3 feet now, and I'm going to take it from the same distance with 2 different focal lengths. So let's see how this turns out. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take the same exact pictures, but with a different lens, and I'm going to put the 85 on here. So let's see. And we go back down to 2.8. So from the same distance with a different focal length. Okay, so We've gone through those, and you can see the difference. I'm going to post up the photos also on my blog, so you can go in and see the difference between the two, the focal lengths and the aperture differences. That now, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you something that you can do with distance, something that you can actually do with your eyes, and you don't have to actually use a camera. So we'll be right back with that, and thanks. Okay, so we're back. We've just shot the photos with the two different lenses and in different apertures. And then the last thing we're going to talk about really quick is your actual distance to the subject itself. And this you can actually test out for yourself without a camera. You can do this, just take an object. This is the battery to my Nikon D200. And what you can do is just take it and hold it out, maybe about a foot or two from your face, and bring it in closer. And as you bring it in closer to your eyes, you'll see that your eyes adjust and they begin to focus on it. And as they focus on it, everything in the background begins to go out of focus. And then as you bring it away, everything begins to come back into focus. Right in front of me is my printer. It's an Epson printer, and from here I can make out perfectly. It says Epson, even though it's not I'm not looking at it directly. I can see it, but as I bring it in, it completely begins to go out of focus, and it's just I can't see what it says at all. And so this is something you can test. And so so I just dropped the battery, but that's something you can do on your own. And so just remember, go out and try this for yourself. Take an object. You can do that exercise that we did with where you take an inanimate object and go out and just shoot at different focal lengths, shoot at different distances, shoot with different apertures, and see what you like, and see what brings variety to your pictures, and maybe what your style is more. Do you get more tightly cropped shots with more in the background out of focus? You have different photos, so that once you present that to your client, once you're done with the photo shoot, they can see that you shoot in different variety. They can see that you just, and not every picture looks exactly the same. So, get out there and try it. Use different lenses, use different apertures. And when we come back for the next video, we're going to be talking about shutter speed and ISO and the camera itself, and we're going to be doing different tutorials. But yeah, thanks guys for everything. Please subscribe to my YouTube page. I would really appreciate it. Or if you follow me on my blog or on my Facebook page, that'd be awesome. So go out there and shoot and have fun with it. And I hope this has helped you guys out in some way. So thanks guys again, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great night. Alright guys, bye-bye.